Coming up live on Grady Newsource. Breaking news, police issue an arrest warrant for former UGA football player Jalen Carter. Then, a look at recent sports betting bills making their way through the Georgia legislature. And later, UGA students get the chance to get rid of a parking ticket while benefiting the community. All this and more, live at 5.
This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for TV news. From the Grady College at the University of Georgia, this is Grady Newsource.
We begin with breaking news. The Athens police issued arrest warrants today for former University of Georgia lineman Jalen Carter. The warrants are for reckless driving and racing, which the police issued after their investigation into the fatal car crash on January 15th that ended with the deaths of UGA recruiter Chandler LaCroix and football player Devin Willock. Along with the arrest warrants, the police say their investigation shows that alcohol impairment, racing, reckless driving, and speed contributed to the fatal crash on January 15th. Police say evidence shows both LaCroix and Carter were driving in a manner suggestive of racing after leaving downtown Athens around 2:30 a.m. Carter released a statement this afternoon on Twitter saying he heard about the warrants this morning and will be returning to Athens to answer the charges. He has been in Indianapolis this week at the 2023 NFL Scouting Combine. Georgia coach Kirby Smart said in a statement that the charges are deeply concerning as they mourn the loss of LaCroix and Willock. He said they will continue to cooperate with authorities throughout the investigation. I spoke with Athens lawyer Mo Wiltshire about what this means.
But here's the problem, and this is always the issue in criminal court. The police are lawfully allowed to take a warrant for anyone that they can generate enough evidence to say they have reasonable cause or probable cause, reasonable suspicion to believe that that person committed the offense. And probable cause, which is the standard for the warrant, is much lower than beyond a reasonable doubt. So it's very easy to get arrested, but that's a far cry from being convicted. So we won't know until we see the rest of the evidence.
Police say the investigation will be given to the Solicitor General's office. We will continue to monitor this developing story and bring you the latest updates. A fatal two-vehicle crash occurred this morning on Georgia Outer Loop 10 near Timothy Road. An 81-year-old Watkinsville woman was driving in the wrong direction when she was struck head-on by a car driven by a 60-year-old Bogart man. The woman died at the scene while the man was transported to the local hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, according to a press release from Athens Clarke County Police. One organization here in Athens connects students with resources so that they can succeed. Grady Newsource reporter Connor Hendricks is here with us in the studio to tell us more.
That's right, Olivia. Family Connections, Communities and Schools is a navigator for families to connect to the resources they need, whether it be food, clothes, or even a winter coat. Let's take a look.
What's the harm? People are going to do what they want with their money regardless of kind of what the laws are.
As these thoughts are becoming much more common among Georgians, 4 sports betting bills are being debated in the Georgia General Assembly. 2 of them, House Bill 380 and Senate Bill 57, would have sports betting overseen by the Georgia Lottery and would go towards educational and Hope Scholarship funding, which political analyst Bill Crane says is the most popular thing the state of Georgia does.
So I think they're trying to hitch the wagon of this first crack, if you will, at sports betting onto the popular train of the Hope Scholarship and the Georgia Lottery to get it out of the station.
However, many Georgia politicians are still wary of the potential dangers the state would be promoting if sports betting became legalized.
Faith-based conservatives believe gambling is a sin, and the state that tells you to educate your children through the 9th grade.
We apologize, we've had some technical difficulties. That was the wrong package, but I believe we're looking for the correct one. While we wait, Connor, can you tell me a little bit about how you kind of found this story?
Right. So I was actually wondering, we have so many problems these days, with people with housing insecurity, food insecurity, and things like that. I was wondering what organizations are in Athens that can help people with that. And Family Connections, Communities and Schools is this massive, massive organization. They have over 50 programs. It's really like a navigator tool to be able to connect people to anything they may need, whether it's their power's about to be cut off, they can't pay their rent, kids need school uniforms and they can't afford it, anything they could possibly need.
Awesome. I'm super excited to see your story. That sounds like a really interesting organization. I believe we found your package, luckily. But while we wait, can you tell me about kind of the process of reporting this? Like, was it hard to get connections?
No, it was actually very seamless. The Family Connections, Communities and Schools staff members were great with helping me find people to talk to, as well as people in the community. I actually made a Facebook post in a couple of Facebook groups asking if people had experience with this, and I was able to find it, so it was really seamless.
Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and watch it.
What really excites me about Athens is that it's a community of a lot of caring people.
Gary Birch is a board member of Family Connection, Communities in Schools. The organization is working to connect families to the resources they need. In Athens, 1 in 4 people live in poverty. Birch hopes FCCIS's programs can help raise people out of poverty by making sure kids graduate.
A first grader, if he gets off on the wrong start and he starts feeling bad about school, he's not doing well in school, that can affect the rest of his educational experience.
FCCIS has a network of neighborhood leaders working in the community and coordinators inside of some Clark County schools. Some of the services FCCIS can help with are helping to apply for food stamps, free and reduced lunch, and school uniform costs. Ariel Seiler's sister received help from FCCIS after she was diagnosed with a rare blood disorder after giving birth. Seiler regularly refers people who need help to them. FCCIS is able to help people with teen pregnancy, homelessness, and getting documents people need to apply for jobs like Social Security cards. One family Seiler referred to FCCIS was moving from Jackson County who couldn't afford school uniforms and needed help applying for free and reduced lunch.
And it took a big weight off of their shoulders to have support within the school itself to help get uniforms for all of their children.
Sakara Fisher is an education professor at UGA who studies school-based intervention programs. Fisher says school-based intervention programs should be more focused on prevention, like FCCIS does with their Neighborhood Leaders program.
Putting the fence at the edge of the cliff instead of being the ambulance at the bottom of it is always going to be better.
Birch says one challenge FCCIS faces is getting some people in the community to give support to their programs.
We need to get the haves support programs that will bring up the have-nots.
Several sports betting bills have been introduced in the Georgia legislature. Grady Newsource reporter Josh Talevsky tells us about 2 of the bills that seek to legalize sports betting in the state.
What's the harm? People are going to do what they want with their money regardless of kind of what the laws are.
As these thoughts are becoming much more common among Georgians, 4 sports betting bills are being debated in the Georgia General Assembly. 2 of them, House Bill 380 and Senate Bill 57, would have sports betting overseen by the Georgia Lottery and would go towards educational and Hope Scholarship funding, which political analyst Bill Crane says is the most popular thing the state of Georgia does.
So I think they're trying to hitch the wagon of this first crack, if you will, at sports betting onto the popular train of the Hope Scholarship and the Georgia Lottery to get it out of the station.
However, many Georgia politicians are still wary of the potential dangers the state would be promoting if sports betting became legalized.
Faith-based conservatives believe gambling is a sin, and the state that tells you to educate your children through the 9th grade, regulates any number of industries, should not be recommending and marketing to you to put your hard-earned income at risk.
Senate Bill 57 would allow for mobile sports betting as well as betting at retail locations at sports betting kiosks. House Bill 380 is aimed as a mobile-only bill. Jones would not be opposed to betting either type of way.
Going out to a restaurant and being able to kind of sports bet there, definitely just add for a more fun night and add something new and exciting. I think people have a lot of time on their hands, watching a lot of sports. And plus, it's also just a fun thing to do with friends as well.
Crane believes the best chance for any of the sports betting bills to pass will be if they are under the regulation of the Georgia Lottery. Josh Dolevsky, Grady Newsource.
Have you gotten a parking ticket on UGA's campus? If you have, Grady Newsource reporter Rachel Branning is live at an event that could help you get one of your tickets refunded or waived. How can students do that, Rachel?
Well, Olivia, the Student Government Association is teaming up with Transportation and Parking Services to waive parking tickets of up to $50 today and tomorrow. And all students have to do is bring in cans of food. And I'm here live at Lake Herrick, where the food bank truck just pulled away, but we've seen tons of students coming out to donate. With 19,000 monitored parking spaces on campus and no free places to park, Transportation and Parking Services issue tickets daily. But people with tickets under $50 are in luck. SGA and TPS are working together to host their third annual Food for Fines.
Any UGA student, affiliate, faculty, staff who has an outstanding parking ticket on their account can bring 10 items, canned goods, non-perishables, pasta, rice, soup, all that kind of stuff, and be forgiven or reimbursed for a parking ticket on their account.
The donations from this event will benefit the Northeast Georgia Food Bank, the Fresh Express Free Student Market, and the UGA Student Pantry. Students at the event were excited to help their community while also getting their ticket forgiven.
I get a free ticket, just like removed, and also I get to help out a great cause. I did a lot of volunteering in high school and I loved it. I did a lot of stuff with food banks and I know how impactful it is to the community, so I thought this was a really good opportunity.
According to Feeding America, 1 in 9 people in Georgia face hunger, and SGA hopes that the donations this event brings in will make a difference.
This was a really great way to benefit students, maybe get some weight off of their back for them to not have to pay a ticket, and in turn to support an organization that supports fellow students like them and people here in the communities that they're only visitors of here. We're only in Athens for 4, 5, maybe 6 years, but the university does have impacts on the people around us.
Donators just have to drive up, give their student ID, and pass off their donations to get the refund. Last year, the event brought in over 1,500 students and between 17 to 20,000 pounds of food, and SGA is hoping that this year will bring in even more. And though the event is over for the day, members of the SGA and the Northeast Georgia Food Bank will be back here at Lake Herrick tomorrow from 11 to 3 to take your donations and get those tickets wiped. Live at Lake Herrick, Rachel Branning, Grady Newsource.
Thank you, Rachel. Coming after the break, we hear about the latest project to improve the dog kennels at the Athens-Clarke County Animal Shelter.
We scored? Yeah, we scored. We're going to the playoffs. I can't believe I missed that. Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone. What? I should take your phone away. No. I'll call for a ride. Wait, why does my face look like that? I'm playing with these new face filters. Okay, you know what? Yep, that's mine. But I need that back. No. Kevin!
Life for a dog in an animal shelter can be stressful and lonely as they wait to be adopted, but the experience can worsen if the living conditions aren't good. Grady Newsource reporter Clay Britton tells us about the latest improvements in the Athens Animal Shelter.
The Athens-Clarke County Animal Services are asking the mayor and commission to approve a SPLOST project to improve their animal shelter. A SPLOST, or Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax, allows for the Athens government to use sales tax dollars to fund improvement projects around the county. The proposed budget for the animal shelter is around $500,000. Shelter supervisor and temporary interim director Nicolette Watkins has been with the Animal Services for 5 years and has seen the old kennels continue to deteriorate.
That funding is specifically for our improving our kennels for the dogs. So this facility is quite old. They weren't really built up to standards then.
The project is a continuation of a 2016 SPLOST project that only renovated 6 of their 36 kennels. The new project will improve the remaining 30 kennels, adding drainage systems for cleaning and concrete barriers in between dogs to reduce their stress.
So that way the dogs aren't seeing each other, and then it helps with the disease spread. So then it will also help with them relaxing because they're not constantly seeing dogs.
But the project is not only beneficial to the animals. Juan De Leon, the interim road supervisor for Animal Services, says the new kennels will help the staff clean more efficiently.
It will make cleaning so much easier because as it is now, you have to do like 2 or 3 extra steps just to get all the chemicals out.
The mayor and commission are set to vote on this project on March 7th. With Grady Newsource, I'm Clay Britton.
An Athens couple is holding a martial arts workshop aimed at knocking out domestic violence. All proceeds of the event will go to Project Safe, an Athens-based nonprofit organization that helps victims of domestic violence. Grady Newsource reporter McGregor Rowland headed to the local martial arts studio to learn more about the purpose of the event.
Right here at the local Live Oak Martial Arts Studio in Athens, Georgia, a local couple is looking to raise both visibility and money when it comes to combating domestic violence. Neil and Patricia Priest are promoting Knockout Domestic Violence, a martial arts workshop benefiting Project Safe that will take place on March 4th.
This will be people coming in and hearing about Project Safe, seeing martial arts, having fun. So it's these are little satellite events that help raise visibility as well as money.
Patricia's husband, Neil, is a retired ER physician of 30 years and has seen firsthand the harsh realities that instances of domestic violence put forth.
It spans all the socioeconomic strata as well as all the ages, and it's really sad that it's still this as pervasive as it is. And so I saw in the emergency department all the bad results that can come from domestic violence. Broken faces, broken necks, miscarriages from being kicked in the abdomen, all the way to death.
In the United States, over 10 million people fall victim to domestic violence per year.
It goes, every state, every region, every city has a problem with this. You may not be aware of it, but it's always under kind of seething underneath the surface. So there's definitely a problem in Athens.
Master Jason Hughes will lead the workshop, whose background ranges from years of training in judo to taekwondo to all different forms of martial arts. Master Hughes believes martial arts is more than just learning how to fight.
It's empowering, and that when you're taught even just a couple of moves and just a couple of ways of moving, and you see that you have this potential power that's never been noticed before or is untapped.
Master Hughes thinks this psychological shift can better prepare people to protect themselves from domestic violence.
That feeling of, oh, I can be powerful. I don't have to be helpless. You know, I think that's the psychological thing is the big thing.
Master Hughes is passionate about bringing these teachings to Project Safe.
It's such an important group. Yeah, they need exposure and they need money, and I'll do anything I can to help them.
McGregor Rowland, Grady Newsource.
Thank you for that, McGregor. We'll be back with the rest of today's sports after the break to tell you about upcoming events for men's and women's basketball and to hear from UGA pitcher Will Pearson about the team strategies going into their upcoming series this weekend.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
You know, a lot of people say when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. And I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago, in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
There is a road laid out for me.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
What do you think?
I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free, take me down to the river and walk.
Welcome back. I'm Cooper Camp with your Grady Newsource Sports. Today is the first day of the SEC Women's Basketball Tournament being held in Greenville, South Carolina. The Lady Bulldogs will be taking on Auburn tomorrow night at 6 p.m. and will be back on the court again to face LSU at 6 p.m. on Friday. In other basketball-related news, the UGA men's basketball team suffered another loss last night to the Florida Gators with a score of 67-77 in Stegman Coliseum. This now brings the team to a 4-game losing streak. And to close out the season, hopefully with a win, Georgia men's basketball will be taking on the South Carolina Gamecocks away in Columbia. Last night, the Georgia baseball team took home a win against Presbyterian College, with the final score being 11-6. The Bulldogs scored 5 home runs just within the first 2 innings of the game, which ultimately set them up for success in this matchup. However, this was only one of 4 games Georgia baseball will play this week. I spoke with junior pitcher Will Pearson about how the team is preparing to face Georgia Tech this weekend after coming off their win last night. Here's what he had to say.
Tonight after the game, we got our scouting report for Georgia Tech, and we've got all of our clips to look at, hot, cold zones. Earlier in the week, we were kind of more focused on Presbyterian, being sure we got the job done in that game tonight. And so now, looking forward to the weekend. The goal for every weekend is to go out and win a series. And so I think especially this weekend, you know, the pitching staff is looking forward to setting a good standard and getting back on track the way we know we can, limiting free passes and walks, and just attacking the strike zone. And for our hitters, they've really set a good standard right now for themselves, so they just need to stay on track. They're swinging it well, just keep finding barrels and keep getting hit.
Something unique about this series is that both Georgia and Georgia Tech will have the home field advantage for one of these games. However, Game 3 will be held at Coolray Field in Lawrenceville on Sunday. All proceeds from this game held at this neutral location will go towards Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. This clean, old-fashioned hate matchup will ultimately be helping a cause that is bigger than baseball to close out the series this Sunday. And finally, in Georgia professional sports, the Atlanta Falcons released quarterback Marcus Mariota yesterday. Mariota lost the starting position after Week 14 this past season to rookie quarterback Desmond Ridder. By cutting Mariota from their roster, the Falcons are expected to save around $12 million in salary cap space. That's all for your Grady Newsource Sports. I'm Cooper Camp.
Coming up after the break, the 5-day forecast and how to keep yourself safe during a storm.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers, he connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far. A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please. I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
Welcome back. I'm Logan Crump with your Grady Newsource weather. Today we saw mostly clouds with a warm high of 77. For the rest of tonight, we have a low of 64. Thursday we'll see showers and gusts with a high of 75. That thunderstorm is expected to hit around late afternoon. The low that night will be 61 with another thunderstorm arriving after midnight. Friday will again reach a high of 75 with winds and showers. Another storm will hit that afternoon. The low will be around 49 with clear skies during the night. Saturday, we will get a break from the storms with sunny skies and a high of around 67. We will have a low of 42 that night. Finally, Sunday will continue the sunny trend with a high of 68 and the coldest low of the week at around 40. If you are a student like me gearing up for spring break, we will be expecting pretty advanced weather. I know for spring break, I'm just going to be hanging around Athens, still be working away. What will you be up to, Olivia?
I'll be going north to the Blue Ridge Mountains for a cabin week. Thanks so much for that, Logan. Coming up after the break, a promising trend for recent UGA graduates.
Some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie. So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
My Shiro doesn't always wear a cape, but she always has time for a hug, a smile, for going the extra mile. My Shiro stretches every dollar, puts in long hours, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. When you're ready to retire, we want you to be able to enjoy it. It's time to start saving now. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
According to the UGA Career Center, 96% of UGA's class of 2022 graduates were employed or continuing their education within 6 months of graduation. This year marked UGA's 11th consecutive year with a career outcomes rate of 90% or higher. UGA President Jerry Moorhead released a statement saying this impressive career outcomes rate reflects the positive impact of numerous collaborative efforts undertaken by the UGA community to prepare our students for successful careers. It's clear that a UGA education provides an extraordinary return on investment for our students and their families. That's all we have for tonight. Thank you for tuning in, and have a great evening.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
You're home before sunrise. On top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit asiaretirement.org.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight, both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back, because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
Then we were hit by breaking news, which was very serious, very sensitive. You all worked together to make it relevant, to develop it. Kudos to our anchor, kudos to our sports anchor, Cooper, who worked with our anchor and gave her contacts and ideas, and she never gave up and got us a soundbite with a lawyer. After getting one lawyer who said he had a conflict of interest, she persisted, and I mean, you guys helped each other out, and you pivoted and you ad-libbed and you created good content, and unfortunately we had to float some of your good content, and we apologize for that because we began the day thinking we don't have enough content. How are we going to make this happen? And we ended up being too heavy. But part of the reason was that we had to add that breaking news off the top, and we had to really devote most of our show to the newsiest pieces. And then I'm not saying that we floated pieces that were not newsy, but we just had to make very difficult decisions, and it wasn't easy for Colin to make those decisions. Truly impressed with all of you. Cooper, you were asked to pivot at the last moment. Logan was asked to also kill one of the things she worked really hard. And Colin got his thing again in the last moment, your Sojo story. I will look at it a little bit closer. I liked how you had the elderly gentleman, I forgot his name, how you, when you mentioned him, you showed him going through papers, but that didn't happen with Ariel. You quoted her initially without a quote, and you showed us buildings or something. We didn't know who she was, what she came in later. So film your characters in their environment, just like you did with the gentleman. Especially for a solution story, we've got to see the beneficiary in that location being helped, that's really, really important. But I will look at it and see. I don't want to say anything more. So I will give you some feedback. I'm really impressed at how the two of you saved the day, and you were excellent in your ad-libbing. You picked up right away. You were serious. Olivia W., you can't. I mean, you cannot laugh, even though it might have been funny for him sitting in the last moment. I have had even stranger situations where my co-anchor did not have a chair, and so he came and he crouched next to me, and this is how we co-anchored. I was sitting and he was doing this, and the viewers never knew that he was crouching and working on his thigh muscles, and we were doing breaking news, and he did his spiel like he was the Connor. And then we went to break, and he was fine, and he had a workout and everything. But you cannot let the viewer know that. And you could react to it and say, Connor is just now joining us, or something to kind of make it. It makes you look not serious, and you are such a serious reporter. What you did today was just extraordinary with the help of Cooper. The two of you were just like, I was just like looking at the two of you and just kind of admiring you and just kind of so happy. You were so professional, and I want viewers to know how professional you are, and so don't let that, as much as you can, I've had those spells too, control them. Also, at times you also showed again that unfortunately, awesome, we don't have the package. Try not to use the word package. But you did, I mean, I think you got the most curveballs of anybody today, and you handled everything graciously. You worked so hard the whole day, and I just hated that one moment, you know, which, and then you quickly pivoted, and you knew what to do, and you turned to Connor, and let's talk about, you know, don't focus too much on the problem. Try to do that pivoting, and that's why, you know, this is the sandbox, and I have to say these things because I admire you, I love you, and I will look at it again, but that's why I told Colin to tell you not to smile. But Colin, you were a natural picking this up, and you made it work, and you did not laugh, you know. It could have been worse. You could have been crouching and working on your leg muscles. Yes, yes. But that's what you have to do on live air. You just have to go with the flow and make sure you're in a good physical condition, because sometimes you might not even have a chair. At least he had a chair. I will never forget that moment. Yeah. But that was, again, having said that, you were awesome. You were incredible. And all of you, I feel very lucky to have such a class. All of you, even those whose content didn't make it on the air, worked really hard. And I'm hoping that, is Allie here? I'm hoping that if not today, please Slack Allie and have your content. We have more actually viewers online than we do on the broadcast. So both of you, reach out to Allie. You know, she's a go-getter and a hard worker, so she will, you know, give her a little lead with your package, and she will post them, so all your hard work gets recognized. And again, it will be seen by more people. Did she had that scheduled anyway, your pieces?
I believe she did, because she had me send her some of my B-roll, so I'll maybe can send her just my completed package.
Please do,
Yeah.
please do. Both of you, yeah. I will, yeah, just kind of, and that's not just you, Olivia W. I say that to a lot of my students. It's something Generation Z, awesome, you know. That's good when you're talking to people or social media, but it doesn't look serious, especially when you're talking to a source. It seems like you're agreeing with them, and so that, you know, for all of you's sake, I'm saying, you know, try not to say awesome, and luckily we have this on our, you know, just kind of give us the Rachel, also, great job. I'm becoming Generation Z myself. that was exactly what I meant by give us what's happening, and you told us there were a ton of people, Generation Z, speak, and the donut was excellent, very well done. I'm glad that you repositioned that powerful, memorable soundbite with the student in between those two other. I think it worked. You made it work. Without further ado, I will just, again, all of you just helped each other out, worked great. I will let Tom talk a little bit. There were a few late packages and a few.
Yeah, it was a fun
He was
show.
also short-staffed.
Yeah, we were short a couple.
He
so.
was running audio. Everybody was doing triple duty today, and we made it happen. And you are awesome, Tom.
And kudos go to those guys back there. I mean, Amanda Kinderman was not only doing graphics but also running prompter and did a good job at both of those. So when you see her, Cassidy, it's always, and then Timmy's punching buttons like a pro. So something that we're running into just across the board is as we get more creative, we have to be more focused. And you know, there were a couple of things that, you know, we're just not catching. And the interviews are something we got to figure out. You know, the 10-second Sojo Open isn't really, I know today was a different situation trying to buffer that first story and get a tone change, but we got half a Connor in the first shot. Get the packages. I mean, and it's my fault. I bragged on you guys like a week ago, and I was like, man, they're getting everything in early. Everything's great. You know, like 4:15, all of our stuff is in. And since then, that hasn't been the case. And what happens in that situation, you get it in, you tell me, I walk in, I tell the video manager, well, they're already sending all that stuff. And they may have missed your line, especially if it's in the A block. They've certainly missed it because they've been doing it since we start the rundown meeting. So in the fervor of today, we didn't go back and double check. And that's something that we've got to work on our side. You know, it's those little things. Thank you guys for coming in, the in-studio people, and getting mic'd up quickly. You know, that's always an interesting situation.
Yes.
I don't know why your monitor didn't work, but in that case, there's two monitors for you, and it actually looks better because if you're looking here, it looks like you're looking at the screen. So, and that's something that's just going to, I mean, comfortability there to get away from that prompter. But again, the more creative we get, the more focus we have to have, especially when it comes to those Q&As, because we don't have the same camera bank that you're used to seeing on TV. You know, they have as many cameras for that one desk as we have, period. So that creates a challenge, but we can get through it. We just have to be more creative in how we stack the show and how we get people in and out.
Speaking of being more careful, the headline, the lower third headline for our breaking news story didn't make sense. I don't know who wrote that, but be very careful with the headlines. It made it sound, I have to look at it again, but it made it sound that Galen, what was his name?
Carter.
Galen Carter issued his own arrest warrant, and it just didn't look very professional. And so be very careful with the headlines, how they sound, because they're very short, and you can go wrong with that. The breaking news thing, maybe I didn't communicate it, but I was expecting it to be right off the top, and before we go to the anchor, breaking news animation, and then hello and welcome. We begin with breaking news.
We had every intention.
Yeah.
That was,
okay. I just wanted to make
that
sure that
was
maybe I didn't communicate it.
No,
yeah.
it was communicated. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, getting into that first segment's always because we're bouncing between recorders and that kind of stuff. And
yeah.
You know, every intention was made. So.
Yeah. I think we should let Colin speak. I think we should let everybody share adventures and how. Just kind of let's talk about in the next 15 minutes about this extraordinarily challenging, sensitive, unprecedented day in what we have done so far and how well all of you did. I'm not saying we did perfectly. You heard my constructive criticism, but you guys were just amazing, as you guys would say. Over to you, Colin, and please pass on the mic to, actually they have a mic, to the rest of you, and just kind of share. Let's make sense of it. Let's talk it over, because it was very difficult today for many reasons.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously shout out to Olivia, not only with the anchoring, but just developing the Jalen Carter story, getting the interview with the lawyer. That really added something to the show.
That made our show.
Yeah, it really did.
Yes.
But and then also
and Cooper. I mean, Cooper told her how to do it because she had experience.
Gotcha.
And gave her numerous contacts and ideas. So the two of them were just incredible, an incredible team.
Yeah, that definitely turned out. I don't think it could have turned out much better, considering the time frame and being short people, and how that was developed. And also, I had to cut a lot of stuff, but. Yeah, please put that on your reel. That'll make me feel better if you actually still use that. But yeah, also I was really, we had, the issue with the wrong package plane, but I felt like that was handled really well. And the fact that you kind of just, I don't know if you ad-libbed the Q&A or you just so we kind of just accidentally flipped the Q&A in the package. So it's it didn't turn out terrible at all. It was so. And then, Logan able to cut her weather short, and the transition I still felt was okay, even though the double box wasn't, there's a little issue with that, but it's still, just being able to ad-lib and pivot. I don't think any of the mistakes were really glaring, at least from what people would see, which is very impressive, and shout out to all the talent for doing that.
And I would give you a shout out. This was your first producing, and you stacked the rundown. Your flow was very good. Your thinking, you responded very quickly, pivoted, to timing your show constantly, responding to unprecedented situations, and communicating as clearly as you could for your first time. Yeah, that.
And one more thing, shout out to Rachel with the live shot. I forgot to mention it because there was no problems with it whatsoever.
Yeah. Yes. Over to you guys, our breaking news queens.
That was stressful, but it was good. And thanks again to Cooper, because couldn't have done that without her. She gave me so many helpful sources and just knowledge about things I didn't know about. So we really appreciate that. And then also Colin did a good job communicating with me while we were doing that, which I'm sure was stressful for you. So I appreciate how quickly you told me stuff. And then also Connor did a great job ad-libbing, and I'm sorry for
it was very smooth.
I did not mean to, but you really helped out with that, and that was great. So overall, it worked out in the end, but yeah.
What did you learn that you didn't know, and that you'll take your biggest takeaway?
I learned that you're going to have to pull multiple roles in these situations, and I think you just have to be able to multitask and have that ability. I also learned to make sure you're prepared, and I needed to center myself in that moment. I think, with more practice, I think I would be able to not have that giggle reaction, but
maybe it was just stress that made you.
Yeah, I just think I glanced at the prompter and I saw half of Connor, and I was just wet, which I'm sorry for. But yeah, just
imagine how I held it together with a co-anchor crouching next to me.
Yeah, that would be tough.
There's not he has a chair.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been really hard.
You did it better than me. I saw him on the prompter and I was like.
And once it was done, the break, oh my God, we broke out laughing like there's no tomorrow. But it was the break. Yeah.
Why did you not have a chair?
Because they didn't remember to put a chair. We started the show, and then they told him, okay, your next live, go sit down. And it's 20 seconds, and there's no time to bring the chair in the studio. And he looked at me, and he just crouched, and and we were on.
Very impressive. But also,
Yeah.
I feel like I learned from Colin, like, just make decisions and go with the decision is the biggest thing.
Yeah, that was, I think I mentioned to Colin and to somebody else that my favorite producer at CNN was exactly that way. She said, you know what, I make a decision with incomplete information, and I just stick with it and communicate it to everyone. Because if I have second thoughts, I'm going to confuse everyone and things won't work out. And then you think about it and you learn more and more as you make those split-second decisions. They're not going to be perfect. They're made with incomplete information. But she was, and I loved working with her breaking news because she was so easy to work with. Everything was clear, even if even if it wasn't the best decision, we stuck with it and we tweaked it. You know, even if she gave me instructions that were not quite what I needed to do, I would tweak it, pivot a little bit, but everybody was sort of on the same page. You know, I wouldn't lead the rest of the crew by tossing to something they didn't have, or so that's really important. Even as an anchor, make that decision, stick with it. And like you made a decision, I would just ask Connor, you know, and off you guys went in the right direction. You made a decision, you stuck with it. He ran with it, and it happened. Yeah. Hannah, how about you? Would you like to say something?
Yes.
First time being the boss?
Yeah, it was interesting, especially pulling double duty, because the entire time I was editing, I was like, I wish I could give this to my, other
Assignment editor.
Yeah, I was like, oh,
but that's
wait.
you again.
I was
That's
like,
me.
oh wait, that's me.
Hey, Hannah. Yeah.
Hey. No, it was interesting, just kind of going through everything.
And what did you learn?
Bug people about their stuff, just
Yeah.
to make sure.
Mhm.
That's what I said when I was producer. Bug people, but be nice.
Yeah, bug them in a nice way. Yeah.
How are you doing?
Yeah, and thank you. You also stepped in to check with the police, you know, to find out if we could get some kind of extra statement, and they said no, but you did it. And so everybody gave more of themselves today, and it showed.
It was definitely a team effort, and that
Yes.
I enjoyed that we all worked together to make something happen.
Yeah, it doesn't happen if it's not a team effort, if people don't help each other and put their heart into things. Rachel, would you like to share anything you learned today? You are our most experienced live person, so share.
I've been live so many times now. I feel like
Yeah.
it gets better each time though, so that's good. Learning a lot. You guys probably didn't see, but the food bank truck, we had this like perfect shot lined up. We were kind of at the corner. There was a
Yeah.
food bank truck and then a tent where they were taking donations behind us. And then the truck pulled away about 2 minutes after we went live. So that was interesting. But we still made it work. I said that they were just pulled away, but I learned that you just kind of have to think on a whim. And I mean, memorizing your script is great, but you look a lot better on camera if you don't memorize it and you just know what you're saying. A really good mentor told me, like, you know the story, you don't need to memorize, like, you just need to tell what you know.
And having a little cheat sheet with a few bullet points has always helped me. I never look at them, but the fact that I have them in my hands gives me this courage to just kind of tell it like it is. I
Right.
know the story, but for people who are nervous going, with the flow, have that little cheat sheet, and that will help you, give you the confidence. And I promise you, you will barely look at it, but it will give you that comfort. Yeah, exactly. That's what you needed to do. Tell us what's happening. There were tons, quote unquote, of people here. There was the truck just pulled, and those are interesting things that people relate to, and that are just life and transparency, and it makes us even look more editorially sound because we're telling people, explaining things, right? We're not. Because they would have wondered, what is this? Is just a parking lot, but you told them that the truck was here and explained to them why you were there, and those are important details.
And I feel like if you guys haven't been live yet, I know some of you have, but I mean, I feel like I've just gotten so much better with my live shots now that I've done it so many times. But if you have the chance, you should definitely do it. Even if it is a little scary at first, but it gets better. And as you get more comfortable on camera, it all kind of works itself out.
Great advice. Now is the time to try that. Now is the time to ad-lib your weather, at least the graphics are your cheat sheet. Now is the time to really try these things too. And you know, when things go wrong, actually you guys learn. Connor, now you know you learned that you can handle anything that happens to you on live. I'm sure you've learned that before, but it gives you more confidence and more reps with things, unpredictable things. Like you got a few curveballs and you ran with them. And yeah, I saw that stand-up, Clay. It wasn't too bad, but now you know, record yourself, look, and you will know these things.
Camera wasn't done and blinking at me, and I was just waiting for it
Yeah,
to be live.
but you had some great B-roll, you know, close-ups, and the only thing I don't know what you guys think about those pans that usually they're, no matter how steady you try to keep the camera and slow, you know, to be comfortable to the eye, they somehow don't work very well. I know you had a professional camera. They don't work with this phone. I highly recommend not panning with this one. Shh. Yeah. Yeah.
It actually didn't seem too shaky, but
Yeah, yeah.
It was kind of on the fly. I saw something and just went with it.
Yeah, yeah. But you had some good B-roll there. And yeah, and McGregor, as usual, he's just a master videographer, and that was a very moving piece, and the way you filmed everyone, and there was so many active scenes and good characters, and it was an excellent piece, another excellent piece, yeah. And would you like guys to share something? We've got 2 minutes. If you want to, what did you learn today? Anything you'd like to, or anything you surprised you and you really did well, or?
I don't know. It was actually like one of the easiest days as an MMJ because like they were super welcoming, and they got back to me quick. They were willing to like all three of them meet me there at 10:30 a.m. this morning. So I wouldn't say there was like an adventure aspect to it because it all went so smoothly for me, which I know is not the case most of the time for doing an MMJ piece.
Sometimes you get a little more lucky.
Yeah, and I think I got lucky with these people because they were super welcoming and super flexible.
But you had it all set up, you know, you were prepared.
Yeah.
And that helps you get lucky as well. I mean, you don't just get lucky, at least there's some preparation also.
Yeah, and it was fun. I liked talking about it. It was a cool piece, and obviously like it was like pretty entertaining watching him do all like the martial arts stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, my son was doing many years ago some karate stuff, and I would go and I would wait for him, and I saw other parents joining in. It was like a family thing, so I said, well, I might as well join in. So I did karate, and we almost got a black belt, and guess what happened? They sold the place right before we were to test for black belt, and so they said, you have to go through all of them because we have different black belt requirements, so But in our minds, we are black belts, the two of us. Yeah. So, I forgot the brown or something right before the black one, but yeah, he was really disappointed, and I convinced him that he was a black belt in his. He could claim it. Yeah. So that was funny. Yeah, I did it. Yeah. I don't know what I was doing, but I just thought I'd join in. Anyway. Well, guys, thank you. Get some rest. Have a wonderful spring break. You worked really hard. Get some rest. Enjoy. And thank you for being so, as you would say, awesome.